Hello. Hey. My name is Aaron, and what you saw right now is what it's like to work at a large company where you have everything you do monitored and you need to enter your password at least 5 times to connect to VPN. Unfortunately, that's not my problem to solve working for that company, but I just thought I'd share that with you. So I don't know about you, but after all we've been hearing today, I'm starting to feel kind of like this young gal right here, just like, fuck yeah, content, right? Like, I'm so psyched on everything I've been hearing that I'm just gonna let that roll, because the first time is because I'm excited about the content. The second time is because I drank like 6 of those little like coffee things that were given to us by a sponsor, right? I want to go out from here and like conquer the IA for good design, UX experience, practitioner, content strategist world, right? Because I'm so excited about everything I've been hearing. I've been learning about everybody doing great work. It was great to see so many people talking about the government, because I work at a bank, and in the bank I work on not just the bank, like the cool bank, but like the commercial bank. So it's like I see all these like really shitty interfaces all the time, right? So I was like, oh, my people, I'm here. We're working through these things. So it's good to know I'm amongst my kin. The thing is, though, is I can't really go out from here and do this on my own. And when I think about what we're talking about today and IA for good, I know that my reach is limited in that I can go back and do as much as I can as an individual. But what if I were to build a foundation that allowed the people that I work with and for to be their best selves, to do their best work in a way that impacts their job, their families, and those they interact with for good, right? So when I think of IA, and I'm not by any means should even be talking about IA. I mean, I've stumbled into design. I've stumbled my way into pretty much every aspect of my career, and with all the people who've been talking today, may or may not have that little bit of imposter syndrome going when it comes to IA. But to me, the beauty of IA is it provides us a foundation from which we can build languages, taxonomies, workflows to generate and improve understanding for people. So then if I think about what that means for me to take that and apply that to this lens of IA or UX or IX or CX or WEX or whatever we want to do, any discipline for good, I think about building processes for my teams. Exciting, right? My deliverable has changed. I no longer make screens. I design how people design. I love hearing Adam talk about organizational design, because that's one of the things I really enjoy learning about and working through myself. And I start to think about this. What is it that will help my team be their best selves? What would help them be good? What interactions can I have with them that will help them do their work, whatever it may be, for good? So first, like, what is good, right? First thing, Twizzlers are good. Very good. The talks today have been really, really good. Okay, let's talk about some not good things. Clowns, right? We can go back and forth about what's good or what's not, and we might, there's extremes that I think we'll all get along with, and the closer we get to the middle, it get a little fuzzier, then we'll have some arguments. More than likely, those arguments will be on Twitter, and we'll figure all this stuff out. So when I started to think about what is good, I started to think about, like, what's our good? What is good for us? What is the thing that drives us? What is the thing that helps us make something good? And to do that, I've had to find something for me that's my good, and this is it right here. This is my for good. The middle one is my wife. The other 2 are my daughters. They will happily go with you to a polling place anytime you want, and I will gladly allow them. Actually, the one on my right there is almost old enough to vote anyways. I feel real bad for our current administration when she gets to vote. She's not a fan. I don't know where she gets it. So for me, this is my good, right? I want to create a world where my daughters feel empowered to be their best selves and that they have the freedom to do so without any type of unnecessary, ridiculous challenge. I want them to be strong and centered in a way that allows them to bring positivity and impact those around them, whoever those people may be. My wife just puts up with my shit on a daily basis and lets me come do stuff like this while she's at home. Right now, while I'm doing this, she's actually renovating my home office. Now, 2 reasons that's happening is because you never want me holding a power tool. That's why I work on a computer. But that's just her passion and her hobby, right? But I love seeing these things in my family that inspire me to make something better for them. Right? That was super Dr. Phil, right? But what happens, like, I still go to work, and there's still days where I'm just like, fuck it. I'm so done with this or that or frustrated, or I see something in the news. And as much as I show myself these photos, I'm still frustrated. Like, how do I get past that, right? So I need to build a way for myself and for those around me to continue to think about this good, right? So how does this work, like this for good, doing something for good when it comes to our teams, right? One of the things that we've done at Capital One, in at least in our line of business, is come up with this phrase that we are to inspire each other to reach our goals and to do the best work of our lives in a fearless, candid, and supportive environment. I love that. I love that that is from the top. That is from the leadership that says, regardless if you work in a branch as a teller, or you design software, or you're a developer, or you're an account manager, or the dude who's cleaning the bathroom, this is our shared vision. And it's not like make good user experiences. It's not doing it, it's be this. Because when I start to work in a way that is this, the outcomes, the outpouring of who I am when I embrace this leads to solid, productive, positive outcomes, not only in the work I do, but in the relationships I build. And relationships are everything. So we each have teams, right? Some of us do. I mean, unless anybody in here on a team, just gonna check. I was really worried no one raised their hand. I was like, man, we're all unemployed, aren't we? No, but like, or freelance, which I don't know if there's a difference anyways, but no, but really, how we interact with those teams impacts our ability and our team's ability to do our best work, right? I know. No shit, dude. Like, I get it. If I'm nice to them, they're nice to me, things are gonna come out great. But in this book I read not too long ago called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, the book talks about having a first team, a second team, a third team, and the certain level of interaction and dedication and priority I give to those teams allows me to be what I need to be in the right time, in the right place, to have a positive impact, to directly shape outcomes. So for me, this is how my teams shape out. Number one is my family. Everything I do, like I said before, is in an effort to create something for them. So if I continue to work from that aspect of trying to honor who they are in my world, I'm off to a good start. Second is my leadership team, right? I have a group of people that work with me that run the other design teams in the commercial bank, and there's about 4 of us, and we have a leadership team. And we have a shared vision about how our teams, which rough out to about maybe 40 or so folks in the commercial design wing of Capital One, we want to set the vision for how they work, how they engage one another. So this is the team I next need to be loyal to, because as we shape this vision as a group, it's going to impact, it's going to cascade into all those who work with us. My third team is my direct reports. I have roughly 15 people that report to me across 2 teams working in 2 different sections of the commercial bank. My goal is to provide a place where they can do their best work, where they feel inspired, right? If I'm not in sync with the rest of my leadership team in doing that, we're gonna come at odds. We're gonna do things different ways. Teams, as they have to work together, are not gonna work correctly. My fourth team, I don't know, I figured the fourth one would fit, would be the broader team as a whole. This could be the rest of design. Across Capital One, there's 446 designers working on multiple projects in multiple places. I don't even know who half of them are. They're just there. I know they're there, but we do what we can to keep everybody connected. But we have a vision for how that team is supposed to operate as well. And so as I come to work knowing that I'm trying to make a better place outside of my job with my family and my direct family and my wife and my children, my family members, I go in ready to work with my leadership team to create an environment where our direct reports can carry out the vision of the broader team. To me, this is for good, right? I can't do everything. I can't be the designer, the manager, the developer. I can't do the researcher. I can't do all those things in a way that's going to impact positive change, because the second I spread myself so thin, I dilute my impact. So my goal is to do these things in a way that allows others to do their best work. So I've been reading a lot about, a lot of books because I have a long commute. And so one of the things that I've been really working on is setting up structure or foundation that builds one on top of the other to encourage this kind of behavior, to encourage this for good type of work. So the first is group emotional intelligence. We as a group want to be sensitive to our surroundings and how we engage those around us. Regardless if we agree with them, regardless if we share principles with them or not, we need to be aware of who we're working with and how to work best with them. From that, once we know that, we can start to build trust and identity with them. Just like Eduardo talked about, that after he started to work with his partners and bribe them with some espresso or those kinds of things, or his hair and his stunning good looks, like he had rapport with them and he could build, and then through that they could be more efficient as a team, even though they weren't maybe on the same team. Next is participation, cooperation, and collaboration. If I'm aware, if I've built trust, we have an identity as a team for how we're interacting, we're starting to work together more efficiently, now I can engage my partners in a way that brings better collaboration, better cooperation. We always talk about, like, what do we got to do to get these people on board? If I hear one more time someone talking about design, getting a seat at the table, it's like, man, just go sit at the fucking table. Worry about what you're going to do once you get there. This is what we need to be doing. We need to be participating, cooperating, collaborating, making the trade-offs that sometimes make us cringe, but build equity with our partners. This is design for good. It's investing in the relationships we have with the people we work with to build products that are going to shape and impact others, right? This is fill in the blank for good. Better decisions, more creative solutions, higher productivity. I put that one in there for the bosses in case anybody takes these slides, or I take them to my boss, right? When we start to follow these steps and build one on top of the other, we can get to a position where as a team we make better decisions, we have better solutions because we have a diverse set of inputs and insights, and our productivity grows because we're not getting mired down in politics and he said, she said, and undermining each other along the way to further our agenda, right? This is what I start to see as design for good. It's the simple little things of showing up every day and building this, right? That's for good, because that is something that can expand. That is something that can cascade down through teams. Emotional intelligence, right? This is super weird. It's like an oxymoron, right? It's just this weird, like, emotional intelligence. Let's stick these two popular words together and write a book. Or at least that's what I thought when I was like, what the fuck is this, right? So I just really dug in and started to understand what this would mean for me and how it would translate. And once I thought about it more, I really started to understand that there's so much value in this term and embracing it as a way to engage the people we work with, let alone the people in our lives. The ability to sense, understand, and effectively apply the power and acumen of emotions as a source of human energy, information, connection, and influence. Be present in the moment. Seek context and understanding of what's happening in that moment. And then you can use that to further a conversation, to get it back on track when it's gone off the rails. Be aware of your surroundings. So I grabbed this from this HBR book. It's called like On Emotional Intelligence or something like that. But it's all these articles that have been gathered together, and that's probably pretty hard to read. So I apologize for that. Or at least on the screen I'm looking at it is. And I will share these slides. But I've got this. I've printed it out. I think I tattooed it on a couple people at work. I've set it up so that this is something that's a constant reminder to us in how we want to engage and carry ourselves. And the hard part about this is like, yeah, that all sounds great. But our purpose is to engage this way regardless. I use this term regardless a lot with my teams because our partner teams don't always engage this way back. So we may have the right to, F those guys, whatever. We have to continue to engage regardless. We have to set the tone. What I've found is that we've taken over a couple teams that were maybe a little rocky in their relationships, and we're working through them. And what happens is when we work and try to engage in this way regardless, we just infect everybody. And the people who don't want to get affected, they get out, and they're no longer in our way anymore, right? They start to realize that this is how people are going to engage. This is how people are going to work together, and they either get on board or they don't. And usually when they don't, either they leave or someone helps them in that effort, right? This is a way for us to, in how we carry ourselves, do so for good. a good buddy of mine who's like just a super talented illustrator, and he's just smart and funny, and he like lives in Montana in the woods and stuff, and he's just kind of this cool, weird character, right? Had this great quote on Twitter not too long ago, and I just grabbed it and thought, look past your preconceived thoughts about a person, and you'll find things more beautiful and more like yourself than you thought. I thought, what a great way to define or personalize this idea of being emotionally intelligent in the workspace with the teams and the partners we have to lead, work with, and report to. Not everyone's going to be like us. I'm certainly glad they're not. I encourage that they wouldn't be. And I would encourage that we would use that as an opportunity to find similarity where it makes sense and build relationships from that, but to be aware enough to embrace the difference and allow that to shape the work we do in such a way that it results in our work for good. The next thing we always try to do is work from a position of trust and seek to build trust with our partners. Another thing we say at Capital One all the time, which kind of I was interested to see if it was really for real, was assume positive intent, right? Which is really, really hard to do, but it gives you this really great mechanism when you feel like things are getting maybe a little tense, or you feel like someone's maybe playing a political game, or being challenging, or just outright an a-hole. You can just be like, you know what? You're making it really hard for me to assume positive intent right now. And that's a company-wide mission, so they know, okay, he's kind of calling me out in this nicer way instead of just yelling at me, right? The more we work from a position of trust, what's funny is we all want the people we work with to trust us, right? Like, how do we get them to trust us with this decision that needs to be made, or to take this direction, or to do this thing, or to lead this effort? Well, it starts when we work from a position of trust ourselves, and we trust our partners and our teammates, regardless if we think they trust us or not. This is a lot of words. Clearly, I'm very good at stating the obvious. I believe I'm endorsed for that on LinkedIn. This is really important, though. And it also says the word maximal, which I think is really cool. If you want maximal productivity, and if you want work that gets the best results, you want the people doing that work to be in the optimal brain state for that work. You are a person who can evict them from the zone of optimal performance by slothfully handling your own interactions with them, writing people off, shutting them down, tuning out. These are all things that I do, that we do, that limit our partners' ability to be productive in their contributions in the teams that we manage and work with. I love that. I am a person who can evict them from the zone of optimal performance. I do not want to be that person. I have been that person so many times. When I think of what our work is, regardless of our roles in this room, and what that means for good, it's up to us to take responsibility for our impact on their ability to do work at their best, right? That's design. That's compassion. That's empathy, right? I know I used empathy in a talk. God damn it. Pour yourself a drink. And the way we do that in design specifically, this is the other thing I've tattooed on a couple folks. I'm not a tattoo artist either, so man, they're so bummed. We are not gatekeepers of good experiences. We are facilitators of great experiences. If we take the approach of this last line on this slide and look at being facilitators for the things that we're building, we will impact our products, our organizations, whoever our end customer may be, whether you're running for Congress and it's a metric shit ton of constituents, or it's a bunch of crotchety old bankers in the commercial banking world of Capital One. Regardless, we help create better experiences through helping each other do our best work. I really believe that with the skill set of looking, all the different skill sets that surround design, trying to develop understanding, building research, building facilitation techniques, frameworks for research, sharing findings, all these little intricacies that sometimes we do day to day and look past, maybe other times just trying to work to find a way to make a workflow a few steps shorter to make someone's life easier. To me, the dedication to that kind of work, sometimes it's super sexy and cool and glorious. Other times it's not. But the dedication to try to make things better for people, to improve their lives, the idea that I get to work day to day and help people better understand and make use of their finances in a time when we're worried about the banks, we're worried about the markets, we're worried about financial institutions not being as honest as they should. The fact that I could work in a way that maybe helps someone gain their own understanding in that area is incredibly like challenging to myself when I get frustrated with work. But if we can look at that approach and say, I'm not just going to be a designer, I'm going to be a designer as leader day to day, which means, that doesn't mean I get up and determine what the roadmap is. I determine how my team is going to interact with my team. I mean, I've been leading design teams for the past 6 to 8 years. I don't remember the last fucking thing I designed. I only keep Photoshop to put people's faces on goats. I don't do screens anymore, right? I build how people design. I build relationships, how people interact in order to achieve outcomes. My deliverable has changed. And so I need to look at my role now is to be a designer as leader, that I can be the one who sets the tone for how we want to work together. We can set the foundations for our teams, our partner teams, and organizations. If you are a team of one, you can still do this. If you don't lead anybody, you can still do this. Just how we carry ourselves day by day and how we approach those we work with will shape the relationships we have and build a foundation for us to do our best work. A foundation for good. IA, UX, visual design, development, project management, content strategy, content design, whatever you want to call it is that you do, as long as we're looking at it as a way to improve and do good, we can follow these types of principles. We can find ways to improve our relationships and shape that. So I made a bet, or my wife made a bet with me that I wouldn't be able to do this. Not what I'm going to say now. I made a commitment to myself in 2018 to be more positive because I was getting so grinded down by all the happy horse shit we see on TV, in the news. I stopped watching cable news and started watching local news. Dog got hit by a car. I'm like, fuck it, I'm not watching the news anymore, man. I can't even watch Discovery Channel. Animals are killing animals, except for sharks. Sharks are all right. That's the only thing they can do, that and swim. But for this year, this is my challenge for myself, to ground my identity in being open, humble, candid, and authentic. And I would add on here, which I should have but didn't, vulnerable. Being these things is not easy. That means sometimes I may have to get up here and say, I told you guys so much cool shit to do and I haven't been doing it for 4 weeks because I've just been a pissed off, angry, tattooed old guy at work, right? I've not been living these values. Or it just may be, look, I'm really trying to do this and I feel like I'm afraid that I'm going to fail our team. That's the authenticity we need in our groups. That authenticity will bring that openness, that humility, that candor, and that authenticity that just roots people together, right? You've ever gone through something mildly frustrating with people, you have this bond with them. I had to go through leadership training, and they really Dr. Phil'd us pretty hard at some points. We're unpacking some gnarly stuff. And I don't even see half these people on a regular basis, but when I see them, we have that look oh, you remember that shit too? Yeah, me too, man. And we're bonded now moving forward because we went through some of that rigorous stuff together, right? Those are the kind of relationships I think that we can forge that will impact our work, our relationships, whatever our for good is, and our teams. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you again, Brian. All the speakers have been incredible. I will say I have some resources. I read all these books that made me crazily thinking about and obsessing over this topic over and over and over again. I will share them out. I will share this deck out just so you have that and that crazy table that might have been hard to read. But again, thank you so much. You showed up on a Saturday when it's sunny out, and you sat in here and listened to us all day. What? Sorry, man. I'm from California. I only know one kind of sunny, so I'm just trying to be nice. I mean, I could have got up here and said go Eagles or something. Come on. You know what I mean? But anyways, for reals, I don't watch football, so I can't give 3 fucks about any of those guys. Baseball season just started, though. Seriously, though, thank you so much for being just like an engaged audience. You've asked questions of every speaker. That's just incredible. Thank you so much. Christina is coming up next, and I'm super excited for that because she's just a great speaker and a wonderful human all around. So thank you guys so much.